Hello everyone, welcome to the Elegance of Souls. I'm your host on this channel, Ekanem, and I'm also the author of a book called The Painted Flawless Manual, The Art of Intimacy. So last week I started, I'll call it a series, which is in line with my podcast series, The Power of Story. I shared last week about vision boards, and I mentioned about how I'm being inspired this year to create a vision board for my year. And so I'm sharing with my listeners about how you can do this in a really effective way. Today, I want to revisit an aspect of the conversation last week, which touched on gap analysis. So one of the things out of the 4 tips I shared was on the gap analysis, which is basically looking at where you are now, your current position, and where you're trying to get to. So from point A to point B, that difference in between. And we didn't go into as much detail around the how. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to go into a bit more detail on the how of doing your analysis, or some of the bases you cover in doing that gap analysis. And I'm going to be looking downwards every now and again, just referring to some notes that I've made, because I don't want to miss any important bits that I need to share with you today. So in looking at the gap analysis, one of the big things that comes up is obviously resources. Okay, we cannot get ourselves anywhere without some kind of resource, and there are 3 things within that bucket of resource that you need to think about. Number 1 is people. Number 2 is time. And number 3 is finances. Yes, I said it, finances. These are the 3 things to consider when you're looking in-depth detail and doing the analysis of the gap between your here and your future there. So let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about finances. Okay, it's a big one and a bit icky for some of us. Maybe some of us are having an ouch moment right now. I know I do get them every now and again. So let's talk about finances. Finances are basically the monetary value or resource you have to help you buy or procure the things that you need that will help you get from point A to point B, your now and your there, okay, where you're trying to get to. And resources can be, cultivated in so many different ways. You might have, the cash that you need to get those resources, or you might need to generate those resources. There are different ways you can do that. And if you are working on a corporate vision, there are also lots of things you need to consider in the space of finances. So I like to think of myself personally as an entity as well. So because I have financial background, I think of finances in terms of assets and liabilities. Okay, so assets are, for example, your cash, what you have in your bank, or it could be a property that you have that has value and therefore sits as an asset, something that you can liquidate at any point in time to use that resource to get what you need. And liability is obviously what you owe. It could be any loans, it could be mortgage payments that are left over, it could be any borrowings that you've made to fund whatever you are doing, whatever you're building, whatever business that you're investing in. So that's a holistic way to look at it from a finance perspective, your assets and liabilities. And you might decide, depending on the kind of vision you have, you might also decide you want to go for grants. So there are lots of organizations providing grants to entities, to people to deliver their vision. So always think, when you think about finances, think outside the box to the different ways that you can actually get the finances to close that gap. Number 2, we're going to talk about people. Every vision needs people. anytime you're trying to achieve something, you need the right people around you. And being able to clarify what your vision is and having things on a vision board also gives you an opportunity to understand the kind of people you need around you, the network you need to build around you to help you achieve your goals. Obviously, in getting people, sometimes you'll need to pay for their services, you'll need to pay for their time. So that's another thing to consider within your gap analysis. Number 3 is time. And when I think about time, I'm not just thinking about time from other people. I'm thinking about your own time as the visionary, as the person trying to deliver or to complete the vision. You need time for yourself, for planning, for resting, for executing the vision. You need time allocated to other obligations like family obligations. If you have children, you still need to meet the obligations that you have towards your children. You still need to meet obligations you have towards your spouse if you're married, or even if you're in a relationship. If you are a coach or a mentor or providing services in any other capacity, you need to think about the time allocated to these things. I also think in terms of a vision, we forget to make time for rest. We forget to make time for vacation or going on a holiday to recalibrate, to recharge ourselves. Make time for all these things. And one of the things I've learned on my journey becoming an author and getting into a new space was that in terms of rest, it doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to wait until the end of the year to do it. You can create short bursts between your busy periods to take some time out to rest, to renew your mind, to reinvigorate yourself on the journey. It's really important, especially when you are delivering a vision that can sometimes be stressful in itself, dealing with different requirements, decisions that need to be made, orders that need to be pushed forward. Maybe you're someone who delivers events or plans events, or you're arranging conferences or attending conferences. All these things impact on your energy levels, so you always have to make time to reinvigorate yourself and re-energize again. So those are the 3 things to consider in looking at your gap analysis on your vision for your year or your project or whatever it is you're working on. People, time, finances. I hope that blesses you on your journey.